So come into the middle of your mat and come back into Tadasana. Bring the ankles and the knees together. Take your hands to your hips and begin to soften the knees. Check in with the lumbar spine, so this part of the spine. And we want to keep this part of the spine safe by keeping it long. So if you ever feel any pinching here, any discomfort, you want to lengthen the spine by drawing the abdominals in and tucking under. Okay? As the posture becomes more comfortable, you might be able to come into a deeper bend, but until then, keep this firm. So keep bending the knees. If you take a slight forward bend, you'll notice that you can bend the knees a little bit deeper. So go with that. Bend the knees, forward fold a little, bend the knees. Okay? And then from here, we're going to keep lifting the upper chest. So we're lengthening the spine, drawing the belly in, lengthening, lifting, and squeezing the shoulder blades together behind your back. If you have your hands on your hips and you take your elbows behind you, that helps you to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Okay, so keep that feeling of activation in the upper back, and then we're going to float the hands up to the sky. Look towards your thumbs if that's okay in the neck. We don't want to be too short in the neck, so encourage the shoulders down a little bit, so relax them down but lift the thumbs up. Gaze towards the thumbs, the knees are still bent, belly still drawing in. Utkatasana, chair pose. So at some point your thighs will start talking to you, but that's good. So keep the knees bending, keep the arms straight and long, extending through your fingertips. From here we're going to come up onto the toes. Keep the bend in the knees. All we're doing is lifting the heels, coming up onto the tiptoes. And then from here, begin very slowly to lift up to the sky with the fingertips. Straighten the legs, come into a straight line, high up onto your tiptoes. Draw your belly in to help with the balance. Hold. And then very slowly beginning to bend the knees once more. Draw the belly in. Keep high up onto the tiptoes, back into Utkatasana. Drop the heels to the floor. Good. And then breathing in, lifting up, and breathing out. Bringing the hands down. Come a little bit closer to the front of your mat now. We're going to step back with the right foot. Step back at a decent pace, but keep the hips facing forward. So you want both hips facing in this way. If your hips have opened up to the side, step the feet in a little bit closer together. You want your back heel kicked in a little just to give you some balance and foundation here. Hands to the hips, lengthen the upper body. We're going to soften the left knee a little, but keep the hips facing forward, and then begin to tilt from the hips. So take a quarter forward fold and pause. What's happened with the hips? Keep them level. And then from here, start to bend a little bit deeper. Weight still in that back heel. So we want to push through the back heel to keep us grounded as we fold from the hips. We're coming about halfway down. And then we're going to start to lift the left hip. And by lifting the left hip, that left leg may begin to straighten. I'm hoping we feel a nice stretch down the back of this hamstring, this left hamstring. Good. So you don't need to come too far. If you're really not feeling any hamstring stretch at all, feel free to come a little bit deeper. But check in with the hips. Are the hips both level? Are you pushing back through that back heel? Good. The gaze is down towards the toes, probably if you're halfway down. And then release the hands to the shin. Avoid pushing. We're not pushing through the leg, they're just resting here gently. We're going to lift the right elbow up to the ceiling. So we're beginning to twist in the body, but the hips are staying level. You can place the hand on the lower back, check in that they're level, and then begin to open up. So the right elbow to the ceiling, Begin to open one shoulder so that it stacks above the other, right shoulder above the left, and then perhaps floating that hand up to the sky. So we're in a closed form of Trikonasana triangle pose. And then we're going to take that hand down, place it on the shin, and come up with the opposite elbow. So we're coming into Parvriti Trikonasana. Your balance is going to be interesting here. It's fine to, I've taken my hands down to the floor if that helps your balance a bit better. And then coming back into Parsvottanasana. Hands to the hips, soften the knee, breathe in and lifting up. Stepping forwards. And we'll go to the other side. So step back with the left foot. Just check in with your foot position. Check in with your hips. Soften that leading leg. So softening the right leg, keeping energy back through the back heel and the back leg. Breathing in, lift the chest. Breathing out, quarter forward fold. Check in with the hips. Breathe here. If you want to go a bit deeper, come into a half forward fold and then begin to lift up with your right hip. Good. Again, aiming for that hamstring stretch down the back of the leg. Take both hands to the shin. Remember, not pressing on the leg, just gently supporting. And then we're going to lift the left elbow up. Left elbow comes up and it draws the chest with it. Opening, stacking one shoulder above the other. The gaze can be up to the ceiling if that's okay for your balance. And then lift the hand up to the sky. Bring that hand back down. So the left hand now on the leg, the right elbow lifting up. Lift the elbow up to the sky first, then stack one shoulder, and then lift that hand to the ceiling. Breathe there for a couple of breaths, and then bring it back down, Parsvottanasana. Hands to the hips. Soften the standing leg a little bit, the leading leg a little bit, and then in one big in-breath and pushing up and stepping forwards. Good. Step back with the right foot again, but this time we're going to take a wider stance. So you want a nice wide position with your legs. Your left toes are pointing directly forward, your right heel's kicked in a little bit. This time we're going to allow the hips to be flexible, but we're going to turn the chest and the shoulders so that they're aligned with the long edge of the mat. Breathing in and lifting the arms to shoulder height. Breathing out, softening this left knee. So take a little bit of time here to find the right foot position. As you breathe out, you want energy and contact, a lot of contact through the back heel and the back foot. And we're aiming this left knee over the left ankle. Avoid the knee moving in, keep it firmly out, external rotation of this thigh. So the arms are up at shoulder height. Shoulders are stacked above the hips, and the gaze, the drishti, is over your third finger, your middle finger. Good. And breathe here. Allow the breath to be regular. Breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. Feel that you can drive the outer edge of the back heel into the mat. And the next time we breathe out, we're going to stretch away into the left hand. Stretch, stretch, stretch into the left hand. So we're keeping the left side of the body nice and long, and then take the elbow to the knee. Open one shoulder above the other. So we've got this right shoulder stacked above the left, left shoulder, left elbow, left knee, left ankle, all the way down. And then we're going to stretch the right arm up to the sky and then stretch it overhead. Keep pushing through the outer edge of that back foot, that leg strong and straight. Your breathing's regular, your gaze is up towards the sky or towards your fingers. If that's not okay in the neck, then looking down. Turn the palm face up. One big in-breath, coming back into warrior two, and then push through that leading leg to lift you up. Realign the feet, and we'll go to the other side. So take the heel of the left foot out quite strongly so that you can still feel that outer edge of the back foot. Toes of the right foot at 90 degrees. Hips flexible, chest and shoulders along the long edge of the mat. Breathe in, lift the arms up to shoulder height. Take them away from the ears, so avoid shortening the neck, shoulders away from the ears, but active still behind you. Good, breathing in here and breathing out, softening the leading leg. Once more, just take a few moments to get that foot position right. So your foundation is strong and firm. Weight through the outer edge, energy through this back leg. Front knee going over that ankle. If you're super flexible in the hips, you want to think about tucking under with the tailbone to stabilise the posture here. And then drishti your gaze point over your middle finger. And breathe. Breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4. On the next out breath, we're going to stretch away. Keep the underside of the body, the right side of the body long before taking the elbow to the knee. Cupping a bowl of rice with that bottom hand. Lifting the arm up, perhaps just touching the ear. Notice how you can open up the chest, the shoulder, the elbow, and then extend the arm away. We're aiming for a nice line from the ankle all the way up to the fingertips. Keep the chest opening, that top shoulder moving back. Extending through the fingertips of the top hand. Everything's active. Looking down if that's better for your neck. And then turn the palm face up. Breathing in, warrior two. And then pushing through that right foot to lift you back up. Realign the feet, take the hands to the hips, soften the knees, and then take the hips back in space to bring you into a forward fold. So we're taking this fold as a counter posture. So come as deeply as you want to. Keep the knees soft initially so that you can relax the body down in between your legs. Allow everything to hang down. And only then, if you're comfortable to do so, begin to lift your hips to the sky. It's fine to move around here, just softening, releasing. Softening your knees once more. If you can grip the toes, grip the big toes with the index finger and the middle finger. Push the big toe down to the floor so you're locking your fingers in position. Take the elbows out to the sides, bending the arms, draw your body through your thighs. Taking the torso down in between the legs, allow the neck to hang. Keep active through the arms, keep the elbows pointing out, and then begin to lift the tailbone to the sky. Prasarita Padottanasana. And breathe. Soften both knees, release the fingers, take the hands to the hips, and on the next in-breath, slowly bringing your torso back up to standing. Good. One big step now, we're going to step the right foot to the front of the mat to join the left foot. Good. Breathing in, stretch up to the sky. And breathing out, forward fold. Take the hands to the floor. Breathing in, lift and lengthen the torso. Breathing out, stepping back into plank and pause here. So pausing in plank, checking in with your plank position. Your hands are active, so your fingers are spread. The ball of your index finger especially is pushing down into the floor. To activate in your shoulders, you want to push the floor away with your hands and feel the shoulder blades draw apart behind you. Draw in with your glutes, so activate your bottom muscles, tuck your belly in, push the heels away. So if there was a wheelbarrow with a ton of bricks coming up your back, you would be absolutely solid and fine to pause here. And breathe here. And then we're going to lift up into downward facing dog. So simply lift the hips up, closing the angle between the torso and the thighs. So from here we're going to come into dolphin pose, which is it's a forearm dog effectively. So I'd like you to see if you can come down from here by squeezing the elbows together and very slowly bending the elbows. If that doesn't happen with both elbows, perhaps bend one and then bend the other. But if you can, coming down very slowly, both elbows at the same time. And then when the forearms are down, beginning to open up in the shoulders by pushing through the forearms and encouraging the armpits back towards the feet. Keep active in the legs, the heels are moving down towards the floor, tailbones lifting up to the sky. And breathe. Gaze towards your fingers, activate your hands, push into your hands and lift yourself back up into downward facing dog. Take the shoulders forward over your wrists, so we're coming back into plank. And pause. And then keeping the elbows close to each other, keeping the chest moving forward, we're going to lower down very slowly through Chaturanga, just pause in Chaturanga. And then continue that slow movement down towards the floor where you can rest for a breath. Take your hands back to your hips. Just allow the head to rest on one side for a couple of breaths and then on the other. So an equal number of breaths with the head on either side. And then bring your head back into the centre, so the chin, or if you're comfortable with your forehead, have your forehead on the floor, whichever feels most comfortable for you. Bring the ankles and the knees together. If you need some padding under your pubic bone, please feel free to pause and take some padding. And then we're going to activate the right leg by lifting the knee of the right leg, and then just lifting the right leg up. Both hips are staying down at this point, and then take that leg down, activate the left knee and lift the left leg. Keep that leg really active and straight. Avoid the temptation to sink. The more active it is, the easier the lift becomes. And lower that down. And then take the hands behind you. If you can interlace the fingers behind your back, feel free. Otherwise, keep them projecting back behind you, palms facing. And then we're going to drive the fingers back towards your feet. Allow your head to lift, your chest to lift. Active arms behind you, lifting the arms up behind your back. Extending your chest forward, squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you. And breathing here. Resting down. Just take a couple of breaths with the head on one side And a couple of breaths with the head on the other side. Take the face back into a central position, and we're going to tie those two things together. So we're going to lift, activate both legs, lift both legs behind you, activate the arms, drive the fingers towards the feet, and lift the chest. So we're activating the back muscles behind us, squeezing the shoulder blades together, keeping the neck long so we don't push the head back too far. The neck stays long. It's the chest that's lifting up, shoulder blades squeezing together behind you, legs lifting just an inch higher. Another 2 breaths here. And then releasing down. Once more, take a couple of breaths with the head on each side. And then take the hands underneath the shoulders. Squeeze the elbows in so the arms are tucked in by your sides. Drawing the belly in, pushing through the hands and lifting yourselves back into cat position. And then take the hips back to the heels, forehead to the floor or to blocks, and take your hands back by your heels to come into child's pose. So make child's pose comfortable so you can take the knees apart and rest the body in between the knees. You can take a block or cushions under your head, whatever feels comfortable, just to enable you to release the back muscles.